Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to go over my 5 favorite 4K restorations of 2024. There were a lot of movies that I had been waiting to get a nice proper restoration. Old classic movies that I've loved for a long time. And I got quite a bit of those in 2024. I'm going to share with you my top 5 today. So stick around and let's get into it. So yeah, 2024 was a great year for physical media. We got a lot of amazing titles that we had been waiting many years for. So, I don't see how anybody could say that physical media is dead or dying when we got some of what we got last year. Some of my favorites were ones that I never would have thought would have got the upgrade. So let's get right into it. There's not a proper top 5 or top 10 list without an honorable mention or two. So I'm going to go ahead and get 2 honorable mentions out of the way right off the rip, and they kind of go hand in hand and go together. And those 2 are going to be part of the James Cameron 4Ks that came out near the beginning of the year. We had been waiting so many years for these 2 movies in particular to get even a Blu-ray release. And we got the golden egg. We got a Blu-ray and a 4K. But this is also where we started losing our Blu-ray solo packs. It was Disney that did that to us, guys. So if we lose solo Blu-rays, I'm going to say that it was Disney that jump-started that with these. It is what it is. I know that people don't particularly like the True Lies scan, but this Abyss scan, wow. I had never seen this movie. I had just heard lots of good things about it. I bought this movie strictly on the premonition of so many people have been waiting so long for this. I got this because I grew up with this one and loved this movie. Even with all of its faults, this still smokes the DVD. If you love this movie, buy it. There's a couple little funky things about it, but it's still better than what we had previous. The DVD we had been holding on to for so many years. But that's going to be my honorable mention. So getting right into it at my number 5, I can't go and start a list without throwing a Criterion on there. And one of my favorite films growing up as a teenager got the Criterion 4K upgrade this year, and it was a new addition to the Criterion line as well, and that's going to be Tom Cruise in Risky Business. I mean, you don't even have to know what this movie is, and you know what this scene is. You just do. I mean, it's in pop culture. This was one of the biggest movies of its time. And I always really enjoyed this movie. I mean, I was not expecting this to get a Criterion 4K. I was hoping for a 4K for the longest time because I didn't own the film, and I just kind of felt that if I bought it on Blu-ray, it would get a 4K, and I would have been right, but I would have been way wrong on thinking that it was Criterion that released it. So, my number 5, Risky Business. This does not have a new audio upgrade as far as I know. It's just a standard 5.1. Usually Criterion does not do Atmos or any of that. It does have it in 4K with Dolby Vision and HDR. And then the Blu-ray has lots of special features. Like I said, this movie looked beautiful. If they would have upgraded the sound, ticked up the sound a little bit. Not really sure what you would need an Atmos for for this, except for maybe like when they're on the trains, you could hear all the different sounds of the city. That would be pretty cool. And then some of the music score could come out of the upper speakers and sound really awesome. But the movie doesn't really need it. So I'm not going to fault it for that, but because it was just a really good video uptick in quality, it's my number 5. And for my number 4 for top 5 of 2024 4K restorations was another one that I wasn't quite expecting to get the 4K treatment, though it does have a Scream Factory Blu-ray, so a lot of Scream Factory collectors probably weren't very excited about doing another format upgrade. I know that some went and bought the whole Blu-ray line and don't necessarily see the reason to upgrade for the 4K. For me, I still had the day 1 studio release DVD, 2-disc collector's edition DVD. So this was a major upgrade for me, and that is going to be Drag Me to Hell. This is one of my favorite Sam Raimi movies, and before we got the Evil Dead remake or requel, you may call it, this was the closest thing that we felt that we were going to get to an Evil Dead movie as Evil Dead fans. It did not get the R rating because there's not a lot of blood and gore, but my goodness, you watch the unrated version and they throw in a little bit more of the gross. That's for sure. He definitely still made it very gross and made it feel very Evil Dead-ish, in my opinion. This is as close to Evil Dead as we got. Now this was a 4K upgrade from the film negative that was approved by the director himself, Mr. Sam Raimi. And it looked freaking beautiful. This was, like I said, this is one of my favorite 4Ks in my collection now, just because of how good it looked. Even some of the CGI didn't look that bad. You know, like there was a part in it at one point on DVD I remember that was CGI. I don't really want to ruin anything, but it just looked really fake. And it didn't look more fake in 4K. It didn't look more realistic either, but it didn't look bad. It didn't get an uptick in the audio. It does still have just a DTS sound, a 5.1 DTS, but DTS still sounds really good. This still sounded really solid. But, again, because of the fact that it was just a new 4K transfer and no new audio upgrade and only one new making of featurette, it has to be number 4. There's a couple more on the list that are just a little bit better in my opinion. But this, solid get. And for my number 3 of 2024 of 4K restorations, I'm going to go with one of my all-time favorites. We watched this in my house growing up in the 90s like it was a movie going out of style. And that's because in our house, it kind of was going out of style. We burned through at least 2 VHS tapes and warped a DVD. Without further ado, my number 3, 1993's Demolition Man. This might be my favorite Stallone movie, only because he's so freaking goofy in it too. Like, he's still the action guy from the 80s, but this was like, you know, his kind of 90s crossover, and he showed that he could be like kind of comedic as well. Wesley Snipes, great performance. Sandra Bullock as a young guy. This is where I was introduced to Sandra Bullock and became a major fan of hers. And she just became such a really good actress throughout the 90s anyways, you know. But she was adorable in this movie. And then you have Rob Schneider before he got with the Sandler crew. He's pretty good in this. He's more of a cameo type role. He has a handful of lines, but he's in it. I think this might be Rob Schneider's first foray into 4K. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know of any other movies that he's in that's on 4K. most of his movies are stuck on DVD, and the movies that he's in with like Adam Sandler might get Blu-rays, but I don't think any of the Adam Sandler movies that have come to 4K are ones that have Rob Schneider in them. So, you know, and this transfer, wow, this transfer was amazing. The Dolby Vision, it just blew my socks off. Blew my socks off. I absolutely adored it. Now, I don't think they did anything really with the sound. I believe it's still the same 5.1 DTS. It says Dolby Atmos audio options, but I don't know if it really made much of a difference. I didn't check between the two, but it does say it has Dolby Atmos as an audio option. But I think you have to go in there and you have to select it. It sounded good. It sounded as good as you would expect it to. I feel like they did really good on the sound on it for what it is. The explosions sound a little bit more full, and some of the more intense scenes you hear a little bit more with like the fighting. You know, they always did the over sounds of like the kicking and the punching, and you really get a lot of that woof woof over the uppers and everything, and the sub really hits on that Dolby Atmos. So that's why I say, you know, this one was a good one. And the Dolby Vision, it looked really awesome. It looked really good to me. I thought that the Blu-ray, the original Blu-ray, looked good. Now, I didn't own this one on Blu-ray. I just bought it for lots of people I love on Blu-ray. I had the DVD, and I just never had upgraded to the Blu-ray. And but I had bought the Blu-ray for 3 or 4 different friends throughout my life because I always wanted to share this movie with people. So I'm glad that I finally got the best version of it. Doesn't have the best packaging. I'm not going to open that up and show it off. There's plenty of people doing that on YouTube. I just want to talk about my favorites, you know. It does have the international Pizza Hut cut. That's what I call it. I call it the Pizza Hut cut or the Hut cut. It's not called that, I don't believe. It's called the Pizza Hut version. And everything. And when we watched it with the Pizza Hut stuff added in because, you know, obviously we knew it as Taco Bell. It doesn't change much. It doesn't really change the narrative of the film. They're still eating guacamole on nacho chips. But goodness, did Arrow do a good job on this one this year. For my number 2 of 4K restorations of 2024, this was a film that I honestly never thought would have got the 4K treatment that it did get, at least not from the company that it got it from. But the company that had it previous let their license lapse, and I'm okay with that because I got this really nice steelbook. And I'm talking about Screen Factory releasing one of my all-time favorites, Killer Klowns from Outerspace. When I do my wide shots and show more of my lower background, you guys know that I keep a Killer Klowns poster right down here on the floor sitting behind me. I have, there's Killer Clown pops all the way up here at the top, on top of that, right above this actually. There's some Killer Klowns pops there. There's some spread throughout my shelf. I have always really enjoyed this movie. And Screen Factory, they came correct. This movie does not look like an older movie any longer. With the upscale, well, not the upscale, but with the restoration that they did from the camera negative, this movie looks amazing. Like, and they put it in this really nice steelbook. I'm not going to take it out of the plastic. Yes, I have plastic on a steelbook. This is actually the only steelbook that I have plastic on. I don't open a lot of my steelbooks because a lot of my steelbooks I have slipcover versions of, or I have other formats. And until I figure out how I want to protect my steelbooks for all of them together, I haven't made a plunge into protector cases for my steelbooks yet. But this steelbook was so nice, I had to put a piece of plastic on it. I just had to. And this steelbook is representation, is a straight representation as to how nice this looks as you go into the package. The inside of it looks nice. The inside artwork looks nice. The back wraparound looks nice. It's a nice full art. There's plenty of YouTubers showing this off. Go check out my buddy, The Movie Den. He did his favorite steelbooks. This fit on there. And this was on his list because it was just such a nice steelbook. I'm raving about the overall restoration and presentation of this. Now, this one did not get an audio upgrade either, so I know maybe I shouldn't have put it as high on the list as I did, but this was just one of my favorite movies of all time, and they treated it with such great respect. Anyone that wants a good, cheesy 80s horror movie to show off a new player or a new TV, or just check it out. Like, check it out and see how good and vibrant it can be, and how well old movies can look on this newest format. This showed it off in 2024. Near the beginning of the year, about halfway through. We got this in the summer. So about halfway through the year, we got it. So my number 2 was pretty awesome. It's one of my favorite horror movies of all time for me. Like, I just really dig it. I've always had a lot of fun with it. It's goofy. It's, off the charts. But there was something that came out later in the year that was better. And I don't usually spend this kind of money on even my favorite movies. But before I knew what a boutique label was, I was following this company on Facebook because of this movie. I had no idea who the company was. I had no idea what a boutique label was. I had hundreds of 4K movies before I knew what a boutique label was. I was just buying movies. I bought the movie for the movie. But I pre-ordered this because I didn't want to miss out, and I'm glad that I did, because very soon after it released, it was mad expensive. And why is that? And that's because it's, in my opinion, the best 4K release of 2024 for old movie restorations. And that's going to be the Hitcher. If you've paid any attention to my channel this year, well, in the last half of 2024, you know that I absolutely adore this movie, and I'm head over heels in love with this release. I really am. This movie is what every 4K disc should look like. When I buy an old movie that is getting a brand new restoration that is supposed to look the way that it looked standing behind the camera, this is the example of that. Second Sight knocked it out of the park. But I love this movie. And I found them talking about this on Facebook back in like 2021. Maybe even a little bit earlier than that, when they were just talking about doing a restoration to finally bring it to Blu-ray. Because it had been stuck on DVD until this point here. At least in the United States. I think there was an import Blu-ray from Umbrella earlier in 2024. So 2024 was the first year that this movie finally got the due respects. And Second Sight got down on their hands and knees and praised this movie. They really did. Like, I cannot sell this movie enough. I'm not a salesman, and I know there's people saying that YouTube people are salesmen. If I was a salesman, I would feel confident in sending you home with this package. Hell, this isn't even available to buy anymore. You have to go through the second market. Go buy the standard release from Second Sight. The standard 4K. If you don't do 4K, buy the standard Blu-ray. It's the 4K scan on a Blu-ray disc. The Second Sight Blu-ray has all of the same special features and audio commentaries and everything as the 4K disc does as well. It looks good. Now, I'm not saying to skimp out on the 4K and just go with the Blu-ray. But if you don't partake in the 4K format, they respected this movie enough to give it a very good Blu-ray release as well. And if you buy this package, you get both the Blu-ray release and the 4K release. But this one's expensive. You can also now, you no longer have to import this. You can get it from Warner Brothers straight from Amazon. And I will leave a link for all of these movies down below today. And they are affiliate links. They do help me get some Amazon credits towards buying more movies to show off and enjoy myself. So if you hit the link and you purchase, thank you. If you don't, whichever. I'm just really excited about these movies this year. But Warner Brothers released a standard release in the United States. So if you don't do imports and you just want a standard 4K release, you can get it for about $25 from Warner Brothers. And I believe it's the exact same transfer as this. But I feel like Second Sight earned anyone that adores this movie or even just slightly enjoys it and always wanted to upgrade it. Second Sight deserves your money for this. It got all of the bells and the whistles. I mean, it has a new Dolby Vision restoration from the film negative. They fixed it up beyond belief. They had said that this film negative was basically destroyed, right? And I don't know if the audio's better or not, but what I will tell you I've noticed is, and that's why, like, having an Atmos track is nice, yes, because I have an Atmos system, so I like to use it. But I've also noticed that DTS, the master, the HD master audio that they did on a lot of releases, once they apply that audio to a 4K disc, when you have less compression on that disc, the DTS sounds better than it did on the Blu-ray, and in this case, the DVD, we never had it. So this is a new audio upgrade for this film as well. So it's not a Dolby Atmos, but it may have not called for a Dolby Atmos. There may not have been enough audio there to work, audio data there to work with. So anyways, that was my top 5 favorite 4K restorations of older films that came out in 2024. We were super, super blessed to get some of our favorite movies finally upgraded off of DVD. And even some of them upgraded from not so great Blu-rays. And even some of them had good Blu-rays and just got even just better 4Ks. So I never want to shy down an older release, but sometimes a release, just goes above and beyond, and that's what I really like about collecting movies in 2025, because there's even more coming out this year of older movies. I already have 2 films that I adore that I'm upgrading, or one that I haven't been able to get for a long time because it was out of print, on just standard Blu-ray this month in January of 2025, because they're not even getting 4Ks, but they're getting upgraded from DVDs or very out-of-print Blu-rays. Those are coming later on in the month, but that is what I'm working with. I'm looking to do more upgrades this year, and we're already getting some. We're getting some great ones. I mean, we're finally getting Panic Room on Blu-ray, and they're just going to go ahead and give us a 4K at the same time. Come on, like, how great is that? So if you guys have stuck around for this whole video, thank you. I greatly appreciate it. 2024 was a great year for physical media, with movies and music and video games and everything. Honestly, like, we've got a lot of really good media handed our way to be allowed to buy and own and keep on our shelves. And I am greatly looking forward to 2025. I would like to take time right now to flash up my members and give them a shout out. Thank you all so much for joining me on this adventure and for giving me a small part of a donation every month that sooner or later it will add up, and we will be buying something very nice to show off on the channel, or possibly use to increase production of videos for the channel. I'm looking at a couple different things I need to get, so the memberships really help out with that. and I really appreciate it. I have more member content coming up very soon. You guys are also going to be getting a couple of my upcoming videos a little early as well. But like always, you don't need to become a member for me to appreciate that you're here. Just hit that like button. And if some reason you haven't hit the subscribe button, hit that for me too, please. I really want to try to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. That would be a more than amazing feat to get to 1,000. If we don't, that's okay. I'm having fun and I'm meeting great people. And until next time, later.